Hey guys and gals, this is Tony George on December 21st. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours and the present under the tree this week for a lot of us who love it, betting it, and that is the NBA 2020/21 season underway on the 22nd with a couple of games. You've got the Warriors opening up the Nets. Nets laying 6.5 with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Let's see how that works out for a season with Irving's personality. And of course, then you have the Clippers and Lakers going at it out in LA. Lakers minus 2.5 in that game. Totals yet to be posted. We'll be looking at those early on. You're seeing a lot of high scoring games in the preseason, but preseason scores, but that's not the regular season. But nonetheless, looking forward to a good season here. A 72 game season this year. Now, last year we finished, in the bubble, did well with our picks in the bubble. And here in my 3 years at Doc Sports, starting my fourth NBA season at Doc Sports, I've never had a losing season. It's my strongest sport every year. 61 units last year, plus about $2,100 to the good for a $100 player. 75 units and plus $3,400 the year before. The year before that, 71 units and $3,380 to the good. That's 207 units in 3 years. Now, that's on low volume betting. There's a lot of games I only have lot of days I only have one game a day. And the NBA, to be successful at it long term, simply is the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. That's it. That's the key to success. That's the recipe. You find the best bet on the board every day, and there's many days, or 6 or 7 or 8 games, and really, quite frankly, with as sharp as books are, and algorithms and sabermetrics and computers, and a room full of guys sitting around deciding how the public's going to react. I will tell you, out of 8 or 9 games, there might be one where there's some opportunity on the line, where somebody missed the mark, dropped the ball, whatever. Books use a lot of different power rating systems that guys like me use as well. So pretty much it's right on the number. So you got to know your stuff. So not spreading it around, especially early in the season, is going to be the best free tip you get all day. Bear that in mind. Low volume, high return. Why spread it around on 5 games and try and win 400 or 500 units when you can have a 4-unit play on one play? And get the same result. 4 or 5 units plus $400 or $500 for a $100 player is what I mean by that. So a lot of times we just cherry pick the books one game at a time right down the board. Unfortunately, where a lot of my money is made is in-game wagering in the NBA is something we can't sell on a website. But those of you that have in-state legal wagering, get those apps and check out those halftime lines. A lot of times it's more the same, this, that, and the other. And I'll give you a little handicapping tip when it comes to betting second half lines, which we tweet out a lot of them. My Twitter's at TGeorgeSports. But we tweet out a lot of these during the season for free. At some point in time, we'll come up with a package that you can sign up for a text service and we can text them out for you. But until then, I just tweet them out. But, it's going to be a shortened season, a little bit here, about 10 games. So that, the season win total numbers look a little different than they have in years past, just because we're talking about less games in the regular season. So let's get to it here with some of these season win totals at least, and we'll talk about some MVP odds as well and teams to win their division as well. These are all wagers I made in Las Vegas over the past 6 or 7 days. But, you would take a look at the East. Obviously, the Bucks are going to contend. Bear in mind that 36 games makes you a 500 ball club. And the Bucks are sitting at 49.5 when I bet them in the East. And to give you an idea of how much love the books are giving the Bucks, that's 4 games more than any other team in the East on a season win total. More than the Celtics, more than the Nets, more than the 76ers. So, And they're keeping the Greek Freak around. And this was a team that got upended, last year in the bubble in the semifinals, and maybe one of the best teams in the NBA. And for whatever reason, they couldn't get it going. But they'll get it going. They got a lot of key components back, mainly the Greek Freak. Well coached for the most part. Good in-game coach at times. It's the cream of the crop in the East. Also, in the East, let's take a look at a couple others here that I wagered. Let me write these down. I got these all written down here for you. I think the Wizards under 32.5 wins is one that you should take a look at. And so, despite the fact that they picked up Westbrook, I'm not a big Westbrook fan. He turns the ball over. He takes bad shots. He doesn't hit very many three-pointers. He can provide a huge distraction to your team. He's a ball hog. And this is a team that plays no defense, which completely, takes away any scoring advantage that he might have for the team. I like them under 32.5 wins. I like the Bucks over 49.5 wins. Now, there's a lot of teams that are affected right now by James Harden. Apparently, contracts to be honored when you're on a team can be thrown out the window at any point in time by a selfish player. And James Harden is a selfish player. James Harden is one of the best pure shooters in the league, obviously. Probably an MVP candidate, but he's not happy at Houston. Houston has started their season with him after he delayed about 4 or 5 days showing up to camp. There's rumors as of Monday the 21st that Denver's taking a look at him. Why Denver would ever take a look at him and disrupt anything they've got going on with that team there is beyond me. Why would you? Don't fix what isn't broken. I don't get that. But nonetheless, win totals for the Nuggets, win totals for the 76ers where he's rumored to go, maybe the Nets, Denver, all these, you can't mess with the season win totals because you don't know what's going to happen. So you got to stay completely away from Houston and the others as well. But I really think there's some opportunity here with some other teams, and one of them is going to be the Phoenix Suns. Matter of fact, it's my best bet, over 38.5 wins. When you got Chris Paul, Booker, Ayton, and a host of others. And who was the hottest team in the bubble before the playoffs started last year? The Phoenix Suns. This is a very good team, and Chris Paul's going to make them better. Big time. Like we did in Miami. It's going to make them better. It's a young team. Now you got a veteran leader on there. That's unselfish. He doesn't mind pitching the ball. Over for them, and that is sitting at 38.5 right now. So you're 2.5 games over 500 with that lineup. And I will tell you right now, I know the West is very competitive, but at the end of the day, if you don't have your A game the night that you play Phoenix, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're not going to cover a number. I'm talking Lakers, Blazers, Wizards, Rockets. You can go down the list of good teams in the West. Dallas. I mean, it's going to be a struggle to get by them. Denver. It's going to be a struggle to get by them if you don't bring your A game. And they have youth, and they got a good bench, and they're well coached. FYI. But we like them. That's my best bet. Also, some other ones that we had there for you. Obviously, the Wizards under 32.5. Bucks over 49. Spurs over 29.5. Yeah. You got Aldridge. You got some players there. And you got the best coach in the NBA coaching you. Over 29.5 wins. Spurs. Over with the Suns. Over with the Bucks. Under with the Wizards. Those were some of my wagers there. I am going to take the Lakers to win the Pacific Division at minus 140. At the end of the day, maybe they don't play Davis and Davis and James. If you tell me there's a better 1-2 punch in the NBA, where? There's some good 1-2 punches in the NBA. Have no illusions, guys. You know, Boston's got one. The Nets have one. Dallas has one with Porzingis and Doncic. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have a good one. You know, Harden and Wall. Yeah, I mean, at Houston, if that stays together and comes to fruition, there's a lot of 1-2 punches, but not many better. Leonard and about anybody on his team at the Clippers, but at the end of the day, I'll take the Lakers to. I'd be shocked if they weren't in the semifinals in the West, wouldn't you? You know, they can impose their will when they want to impose their will, despite an aging LeBron James, and despite whether you're, you know, hate LeBron James or love him. He's one of the best top 3 players in the league, even at his age, when he wants to be. No doubt about it. Can't argue it. Also, the Utah Jazz to win the Northwest Division, plus 225. I like this team. They played well last year. They got a good coach. They have a good nucleus of teams. It's a very tough environment to go playing out there in the altitude. But I like them to win that division. That's another bet that I made. 4 others for MVPs this year. I took Luka Doncic plus 400. Anthony Davis plus 700, my best bet. I put $200 on that ticket. Anthony Davis to win the MVP plus 700. James Harden, another one, plus 800. Scoring leader for how many years now? I mean, same thing with Harden. Love him or hate him. You know? Personally, I think he's kind of a jerk. But you know what? The guy can ball. This cat can flat out ball. He can go on runs like nobody's business. He could take over games. And the other one I liked, the long shot I put $50 on, was Damian Lillard plus 1,500. He's about as good as they come in the NBA. He's really a difference maker for the Blazers. And, you know, those were some of the wagers that I made here on season win totals and MVPs and conference winners. DocSports.com. We got $100 off an early bird package in the NBA. So it's already on the website at $100 off. I will give you an additional 10% off the season package by using the promo code TGNBA10. So when you go to the website, click the link description below, there's a free $60 waiting for you. You can apply that to the 100 off plus the 10% off as well by clicking that link in the description below. And then when you go to my page over there, just pull up NBA Season Pass and type in TGNBA10 and get an additional 10% off. And this package is good all the way till they crown an NBA champion. Postseason included, it's less than, with all that going on, it's less than $90 a month. And we're going to start out slow and steady, low volume, looking to have a pick on opening day, and start the ball rolling slowly but surely in the NBA. One handicapping tip I will give you. When it comes to halftime betting, many times, teams that are heavily favored that came out complacent, that are struggling against a weak sister in the first half, if they're laying less than 6 or 7 or 8 in the second half, and they're, especially if they're down points, are usually worth a look. And one thing on totals, you can go over or under in second halves. The average shooting percentage in the NBA is around 45%. So take a look at that. If you take a look at a first half line and go, man, they didn't, they scored this or scored that or whatever. Look at the shooting percentages of both teams. If some team's shooting 31% from the floor and the other team's shooting 36% from the floor in the first half, chances are the average mean. They're going to average out. They're going to shoot better in the second half. And it might be, with those lower shooting percentages, under 40% in the first half, you're going to want to look to take the over in the second half, as those shooting percentages will increase and teams dial it in a little bit tighter in the second half. And I win a lot of money doing that by looking at those shooting percentages from the floor. Forget 3-point, just overall shooting percentage. And if it's below 40% and the number is reasonable, that's right for an over in the second half. Because a lot of the books think that the general public thinks it's kind of more of the same, when sometimes it isn't. And other times it is. And I take a lot of first half lines on big favorites and cut them in half, because teams that are supposed to be favored 9, 8, 10, whatever, get out to a big lead in the first half, and then they become complacent and bored in the second half, and the intensity dies down, and the other team comes back and covers this, a big number late in the game. So you might want to take a look at first half lines as well. Those are just two on big favorites. Depending on the setup, obviously. It doesn't work every time. You have to have a certain scenario on there. But just a couple of little handicapping tips to use early in the season that may help you get off the schneid, so to speak, and get going. Doc Sports, free $60, $100 off our package, early bird special, an additional 10% off on my package by using the promo code box TGNBA10, an additional 10% off. Best of luck this NBA season. Let's get them.